Hi, everybody. My name is Ginger. I'm the director of Erasing Family, and I want to thank you all for joining me today. Whew, tax season. I'm not sure who else is getting a little crazy with having to file taxes. Definitely not my favorite time of the year, but I am super happy that I have some really great news to share. For those of you who haven't heard yet, we have got a really amazing team together to do the post-production for Erasing Family. So if you were watching the Oscars last night, one of the winners has joined our team. He is the supervising producer for Icarus, which won Best Documentary Film, and he will be working on Erasing Family. So that's a major win for us, and it just shows how we are telling a story that's not only captivating erased families, but the public in general. And by focusing on the emotions of the children, by focusing on the emotions, yeah, I'm just adjusting my light because I'm a filmmaker, so when I see like lighting that I don't like, I'm like, oh, this is awful. So when we focus on, sorry about that, when we focus on the stories of the kids, when we focus on the stories of the children, people react so differently. It's the focus on divisions, it's the focus on corruption, laws, and legal terms that turn people off and make the stories unbelievable sometimes. When we focus on how the children have suffered, and we tell it through their own voices, and we show how by helping children have a better relationship with both of their parents and their entire families after divorce and separation, we can make society as a whole healthier. It is a message that everybody agrees with, and if they don't agree with it, let them disagree, because we are in the position of strength and power and peace and love. So it's very exciting. Again, recap, we have a second-time Oscar winner on our team, who is a supervising producer for Icarus, so that is really exciting. We also have Sean Jarrett, who will be doing the edit, and 2 of his films premiered at Sundance, including Holy Hell, which you can see on Netflix, which is a film about cults, very appropriate. And I was up in LA yesterday, and there's a lot of good leads for getting this film onto a major network. To the point where I'm even a little surprised and shocked, because when I started this project, I was hoping that, you know, it would get visibility, but I didn't realize in a way how big this problem was and how receptive people can be if we change the way that we talk about it. So that is super exciting. I'm also planning to be in Toronto, Canada in very late April, early May, and we'll be having an event. Amanda McDonald just shared, that's great news. Looking forward to the documentary. So I want to get this out there. And so I'll be in Toronto, where I think we'll be, I'm a little scatterbrained today because I'm just so excited. But basically I'm going to be in Toronto very early May. We're going to be having an event. We're also going to be having an event in Washington, D.C., June 8th with Dr. Childress and Dorsey Pruder. We hope that you can make it. We hope that you can come and support. And if you haven't already, go to erasingfamily.org. You can make a tax-deductible donation to help our film fund. And you can also share your story. So many parents contact me and say, I want to tell you my story. And I always say, go to erasingfamily.org, click on share your story, and you can send a video tribute to your kid. It's super easy, and you can fill out a survey where you can go into as much detail as you want about the story. But the video tribute, you're just sending a message of love. You can make one, your mom can make one, your dad can make one, everyone can make one, and you can make as many videos as you want. And we really need to get a lot of videos to show how big this problem is. So if you haven't already, go to erasingfamily.org and click on share your story. So I want to talk about today's topic, which is called Mommy and Daddy Are Fighting, How to End Gender Divisions to Win Family Court Reform. And I thought about this because as I'm working with people who are children of divorce, who care about this issue, but they're not advocates, they're not activists, they're not in the movement, they're not, you know, people who can't see their kids right now, their perspective is very different. And reviewing a lot of the material that we filmed, one question that kept coming up by the people reviewing this is that they really didn't get why there's some people who really insist that moms have it worse in family court, and there's some people who really insist that dads have it worse in family court. And that this does not mean to pretend that there are no cases of gender discrimination in family court, or that the way moms and dads are treated and their expectations are different by society and by family court. That's not what we're saying. But this constant contact of women can't be trusted, men can't be trusted, is very damaging to our message, which should be child-centric. And I'm very proud that we have experts in the film that talk about it. And I can say I have seen this talking to parents, that, for example, when a mom can't see her kid, the excuses that are often given are that she's crazy, she's a drug addict, she's an alcoholic, she's mentally unstable. And what I find very interesting, I've met so many women who can't see their kids who have been accused of mental instability, alcoholism, and drug abuse. I haven't really met any men, and anyone who's lived more than a day in this world can say that there are plenty of male addicts out there. So it's very rare that fathers never get accused of addiction to not being able to see their kids. At the same time, there's tons of men who can't see their kids, and they're accused of sexual abuse and domestic violence. Again, if you've lived more than a day in this world, you know that there are plenty of mothers who are abusive sexually and physically and, of course, emotionally to their kids. But it's very weird, and it's very interesting to look at what types of prejudices and stereotypes are used to keep parents from their kids when they're going through family court. So I want to open this video up to questions. If there's any questions or comments about updates from the film, about things that we've been learning, that I'd be glad to take them. So Sandy Creech just said, there's the issue of judges that need to recuse themselves when they are well known to one of the party's family or the family in politics. Yes, that is a huge issue with the family court, that it's very insular and circular, and judges become lawyers who become judges who become lawyers who become judges who become lawyers. So one thing that we are, very interested in exposing with this film is how what people call judicial discretion is really an excuse for judicial bias. So the problem with family court is that judges don't have to justify their decisions. It's not like criminal court, where criminal court is very clear, beyond a reasonable doubt. Whether you have a jury trial or a judge that's deciding the case, there has to be proof that meets an evidentiary standard. And you can't submit anything in criminal court. So criminals have more rights, or people who are accused of criminal behavior, than parents who are in family court, and ultimately children, because there is no clear evidentiary standard. So you can admit hearsay, feelings, emotional statements in family court that would never be permitted in criminal court. But the worst case is that when judges and also custody evaluators and other professionals make statements and decide to keep a parent from their kid, there is many times no justification, there's no reasoning, there's no evidence, there's no way to review this. And so basically it is the judge that you get, the lawyer you get, or the custody evaluator who will determine your case. And I was at a big conference of mediators and people who work in family court. And what I was blown away by, but I'm sure you guys have come across this, is that each professional, like I would ask each professional the same question, which is what to do when you have a very high conflict divorce. What is your default best custody? And one judge said 50-50. Take away any incentive to fight, boom. And you say to them, half the time with one parent, half the time with the other, you're going to parallel parent, you're going to use custody wizard, done. It's like, okay, that sounds good. Then I talked to another custody evaluator and said, if there's high conflict, shared parenting and shared custody never works. You need to have one parent under very controlled visitation so the other parent doesn't get nervous. So I was like, wait a minute. We're not talking about differences in degrees. We're talking about huge differences in opinion, huge differences in the basic ABC of how to treat a high conflict divorce. Are there any other questions that I can answer? Thank you, Sandy, for your question. Thank you, Amanda McDonald. You can just type them in the comments section. And so just to get back to this point about gender divisions, as a child of divorce, when I hear people screaming at each other about who has it worse, moms or dads, I am immediately taken back to that place as a kid of hearing my mom and my dad fight and scream at each other. And it can often be so silly, because I remember we post pictures of erased parents or erased family members basically in the order that we get them. So whoever sends us photos is the photos we post. And sometimes we'll post a photo of a woman saying erased mom. And half the comments are dads saying, why do you always post pictures of moms? There are tons of dads out there too. We say, yeah, we post pictures of dads, and we'll post a picture of a dad, and then we'll get a ton of moms saying, why do you always post pictures of dads? This happens to moms too. And this can go back and forth, and nobody focuses on the fact that there is a loving and fit parent who can't see their kid. There's a child that's suffering. Instead, it's this, you know, it happens to moms, it happens to dads. You know, and I think in general there's a way too much focus when we talk about parental rights and not children's rights. And I think this is very dangerous because it's much easier for people to get behind a child's right to identity, to have a loving relationship with both parents. Whereas parental rights, most young people who we're trying to reach with this, right? Think of it as a way for parents to control their child and make them do things that they don't want. Sandy Creech, had investigation closed and child services closed cases due to knowing the other party, dismissed all, judge said to appeal it, it will all come back to him anyway, then laughed. Just making these comments as it shows this happens to fathers or mothers. Great, thank you, Sandy. Anybody else have a comment to share? What do you guys think? Do you guys ever feel that mothers are given more sympathy, or that fathers are given more resources when they can't see their kids? Does anybody feel that way? Does anybody feel that one gender definitely has it worse? Comments. While I'm waiting for the comments, one thing that I found really super interesting is also when we talk to people about this who, you know, how a lot of times what for people who are going through this seems like huge issues and huge divisions are actually quite small and actually quite minor. And I think that's very important for us to always think about what is our central message. Our central message is that kids deserve to have a loving parent, a fit parent in their lives, and that parent should have to spend tons of money, tons of time to just be able to see their kid and be involved in their life. Because ultimately the child becomes an orphan of a living parent, and then we as society pay the price when we, you know, when that kid has problems later on. And a lot of the small details really are details, and we need to focus on the big message and the big picture. So I just want to leave that with you, that the next time you see someone, if you're a mom and you see a dad posting something about being dad, not being able to see their kids, respond with empathy. And the same thing to dads when they see a mom, respond with empathy, kindness, because we're all in this together. And this focus on gender isn't good for anybody. It's definitely not good for the kids. Amanda McDonald, it's been interesting to me to see how much my ex's girlfriend and other step-parents are encouraging the alienation too. Yes, alienation and erasure happens. It's often the step-parent that can, well, it's interesting because often it's the step-parent who initiates the alienation, and can be one of the strongest foes because they feel competition with the actual parent. And then also some of our strongest supporters are step parents. And I was talking to a child today who reunited with her dad, and she is on Facebook, and a lot of parents contact her, and she said half of all the parents that contact her are step parents saying, my spouse can't see his or her kids. They're really upset, and so upset they can't even investigate or find out what's going on or try to decide what to do, which is why I'm reaching out to you. So it's like step parents can be a big part of the problem. They can also be a big force for the solution, because being a little removed from the pain of not being able to see their kids means they can often think more clearly, more logically about this. Cindy Esquivel, I love you, girl. I don't know you, but so happy for this page. Oh, thank you, Cindy. We're so happy that you're here, and we're so happy that this is helping. And just a reminder, we have all of our videos up on Facebook. So if you miss a live video, you can always be there. And we have some great ones about the power of forgiveness to reuniting with your kid, why you never win in family court, and why some of the best advice I give people is if you can stay out of court, stay out of family court. If you can get out of family court, get out of family court. And often, you know, the worst agreement that you can negotiate outside of family court is the best agreement, is better than the best agreement you can get inside family court. Amanda McDonald said, thank you so much. And I think if we can flip the conversation and make it as child-focused as possible, we will start winning more allies. We will start winning more supporters, especially people who, you know, are sometimes turned off. And I can understand why, because when parents are out there shouting and trying to explain these complicated cases, it can be very tiring to listen to. The simpler and more loving that we keep our message, the more positive focused, the more results we're going to see. Tonya Lily Ryan just said, in our case, the stepmom has successfully alienated my 2 daughters away from me first, and later their dad after her separation from dad. Wow, and that's not the first time I've heard of this. So it's common for step-parents to sometimes do this. I don't want to say it's common, but it does happen. And I have interviewed for the film a child who went through that, who erased his mom from his life, and then when the stepmom and dad divorced, the stepmom tried to do the same to dad. Amanda McDonald says, part of me thinks maybe I'm a bad mom and need to disappear. So that is very common, Amanda, to think that you've done something wrong. And I think that living an examined life and getting help and owning up to any mistakes that you make, which we all make because we're human, is super important. And one thing, and a lot of parents resist this, is that if you are able to talk with your kid and they say, I'm so angry at you, that the correct response is to say, well, tell me what I did wrong and how I can make it right. So, because I want to make it right and I'm so sorry for hurting you. And a lot of parents say, well, I haven't done anything wrong. And I say, yeah, but you can say that even if you haven't, because also, one, you're not perfect, but two, a lot of parents have tried this, and what they found is that when you ask the kids, well, what have I done wrong? Because they're expecting you to say, I haven't done anything wrong, I've done everything right, you're ungrateful. And you say, well, tell me what I've done wrong so I can make it better. They go, and they come up with some lame thing that you did 10 years ago that's not important. So you're inviting dialogue and conversation. And also, it's, you know, by offering to apologize. And also by getting help and working on yourself, giving yourself the permission to be happy even though you're in a moment of pain. This will all help your kids come back. That being said, when someone accuses you because they've been brainwashed against you, when they are out of self-preservation and survival, have to talk to you in a negative way and think about you in a negative way because they are being controlled, you can't take it personally any more that someone who is in a cult will reject their own family. And if you get them out of the cult, you're not mad at them, or you think, what did I do wrong? You say, you were in a cult, how can we help you heal from this? So it's a fine line to walk, and we all have stuff to learn. No parent's perfect. So you're not perfect, and you've made a ton of mistakes, Amanda, but so have my parents, so have everybody's parents. You know, it's like the old joke, you know, oh, I'm so mad at my mom, you know, and then that's why I'm in therapy, and the therapist says, I have a line out the door of people who are also mad at their parents. You know, it's like, this is common. We make mistakes. What we want our children to get to is to develop a neutral mind about their parents, to say, my parents made mistakes. There are many things that I don't want to repeat in my life, but they're my mom and my dad, and I love them. Maybe I can have a very close relationship. Maybe I have to put distance, but I accept my parent and I love them. And that doesn't always mean having this super close relationship with your kid that you want. It might not be possible, but we can definitely work towards them developing a neutral mind and accepting mind, because ultimately you're part of their identity, you're part of their heritage, and every kid has the right to their identity and their heritage. So Sandy Creech, how can we help? Finances aside, what else is needed? Okay. Go to erasingfamily.org, click on share your story, and upload a video today, a video tribute to your kid, and fill out the survey. Then, once you've done that, get somebody else in your family to also upload a video tribute to the kid, saying how much they miss them. And what's really great about the app that we have is that you can check the video before you submit it. So if you don't like it, you don't have to give it to us. You can do it again if the audio is bad, if the camera shakes too much. And it's just a message of how much you love and miss your kid. If you have 2 kids, you can do 2 videos. You can do 10 videos for your kid. Do as many videos as you want. So if you can do that today, that'd be a great way to help, because I'm always surprised at how many parents say, I want to share my story, and then when I say, upload this video, take this survey, they don't do it. And there's thousands of parents out there. If we can get to 100 videos, and these videos, some of them will be used in the film, they'll be used in other campaigns, but the whole point is volume. So right now we're only about 40 videos. So, so Sandy, once you do your video, you get someone else in your family to do one, or 2 people in your family. Get another parent on Facebook who's open with their story. Some people can't be open and they can't share because there's a gag order or they're scared. So we understand that. Get them to make a video too. And if everybody on this chat right now made one video and got someone else to make another video, we would get to 100 in no time. So if you can't make a donation, and if you can, send a video. It can be super short, something like, I love you and I miss you. It's been 4 years since we've seen each other, and I just want you to know Mommy's always here for you. Daddy's always here for you. You have a whole family waiting for you, and it's about multiplying love, not dividing. And don't talk bad about your ex. Don't try to explain the situation. Just keep it super simple. Amanda McDonald, it's hard not to spend the whole video crying. That's okay. If you've got to cry, cry. But just think, you know, if your kid could see it, what would you want them to hear? So Tina Albarone just joined, who offered to help to our DC event. Super exciting. And there's a lot of, you know, so that's a big way to help. And then Helen Hussins just said, what do you think is the best way to change family court? Does your organization appear before state legislators, or do you have contacts with legislators that are proposing new laws to change family court? So Helen Hussins, I am not a lobbyist. I don't write laws and legislation. There are many other groups that are doing that. But before you can get politicians to be interested in something, you need to show them that that this is a massive problem, because politicians follow the votes. So I would say that the first step is getting the public to know that this is a big problem. What we have that we could use to our advantage is that half of all kids grow up in divorced home or in single parent homes. So these kids know instinctively how bad things can get. You don't have to explain it to the millennials. Like, I don't have to say, I'm doing a movie and give them a 5-minute explanation. I'm like, my movie is about kids who've had a loving parent erased from their lives by the family courts after divorce or separation. And they're like, oh, that happened to me. Oh, that happened to my friend. Super easy, easy peasy. But the politicians and older folks don't know this. So I would say that the first step is getting the public to be aware, which is why we're creating the documentary. It's why we're going to be creating all of these wonderful materials that go along with the curriculum packets, books for parents, books for teens, educational video series. There's going to be a lot of rollout with this, and a tour that goes to universities, that goes to high schools, that we're going to be engaging with professionals. And the other thing is that you can write the best law in the world, but if the judges still have discretionary power, they don't have to follow the law. So it needs to have a more holistic approach. And, you know, I often say what we do at Erasing Family isn't necessarily sell a solution, because I think that there are multiple possible solutions that can be done. And you have to have an approach that comes from all sides, an educational approach, a legal reform approach, And then also, a procedural approach. I think that the big thing is that family courts are overused. That there's a lot of families, I would say maybe the vast majority, 95 to 99%, who should be in court. They should be in mediation. They should be having services that help them. They shouldn't have to be paying a lawyer. And that family court is not the venue. A court with a judge and 2 adversarial lawyers is not the venue to solve this. So I think that's a major push that has to happen, is a cultural and legislative shift so that most families are not in family court. That most families have the resource and the help to resolve this through mediation. I know a lot of you say, well, mediation doesn't work. That's because it's bad mediation and there's no real push towards it. There's no incentive towards it. Any other questions or comments? Anything that I can answer? So again, make a video, go to erasingfamily.org, click on share your story, make a video, make 2 videos, make 5 videos, the more the better. Law firms have incentives to win, yes. And that they have incentives to make the other side lose. And, I interviewed someone who works in a family court, and she looked at the camera and she said, if you are in a custody battle, one of the 2 parents has a mental problem, because sane people wouldn't go to court over visitation. And she's not saying both, but she's saying that if you are sane, loving people, even if you hate each other, you're going to take any chance at mediation, working out on your own, and find a way to compromise. But when you get into this all or none game, this zero-sum game, this winner-take-all game, there's usually a mental issue behind it. And taking someone with a mental issue and putting them into a court environment, that's not a recipe for helping. It's a recipe for making everything worse. And, and one thing that she said too is, so you have 2 people in family court, 2 parents, and they destroy each other and their lawyers destroy each other. How are these parents ever going to stand together at that kid's wedding in the future or that kid's graduation? So we need to design a system that helps people, not encourages them to hurt people. Tina Barone, I've contacted my congressman and was told that they can't help with the state court system. I've written to many news show. How do you get one person to want to hear your story and the problem? So I would say that one person is completely ineffective, but a group of people is very effective in changing this. And I did a talk on this last week about growing a movement, is that people have to work at what they're good at. So someone said, do I talk to legislators? I'd gladly do it, but I'm not a lobbyist and I don't write laws because I'm not good at that. And I'm not a lawyer and I'm not good at, talking to politicians. Not my thing. I'm good at creating a communications and press strategy. I'm good at creating a documentary film that will get people to change the way they view an issue. So that's what I focus on. And I feel like a lot of people are like, how do we get this in front of Congress? It's like, whoa, there's a lot of work you need to do before you can get legislative reform and start talking to politicians. Are you ready? And one thing too is if you have a protest or a march where only 20 people show up, don't expect the US Congress to give more than like 10 seconds of their time about this. So I feel that the first, I would say before you talk to Congress, have you talked to your local PTA, Kiwanis Club, Rotary Club, church, temple, youth league, library, community service. Not only is it good practice, but you need to develop your base first. And one thing that we're going to do with the rollout of Erasing Family is give people PowerPoints and packets so they can make presentations on their own to go along with the film. And that's where you need to start. Where do you have influence? Because a congressman, why are they going to give you their time? But the local Parents Teachers Association, the local school board, a local community organization or religious organization, they'd probably let you speak to them and they'd probably have 20 people in the room. So I would say, and that's the thing, a movement is different than your own case. Movements that are effective are never quick. To give you an example, look at gun control. There have been school shootings since Columbine in like the early 1990s, and 25 years later, there's recently some movement towards reform. They're at least beginning to talk about gun control. And it's taken 25 years of horrible shootings in the news for people to even begin to talk about it. The civil rights movement in the US, there was 30, 40 years of planning before they began the civil rights movement as we know in the 50s and 60s. Training lawyers, thinking about strategy. These things take time and they take specific training. So Rick Tobin, hey, he's a big supporter of our film. Hi, Rick. He's an associate producer. Many controllers subconsciously view a settlement or mediation as another abandonment trigger. This is partly why there may rarely be closure with them and why they feel the need to continue trying to control the children and the former spouse. I agree, and that is why we need to have highly trained mediators and also take away the option of continuing the fighting and getting people into help and therapy. I'm using this broad term therapy. There's many different types, and it could also be coaching, it could be parenting classes, and there are some people who are incredibly, for lack of a better term, crazy, but there are a lot of people engaged in custody battles who that's just what they've been taught. That's what their lawyers and society eggs them on to do. So I think that's where we can start to create the first movement. And I did study interview a court system that does everything possible to push people into mediation, gives people resources, and also it's a court system that doesn't charge people money to use them. So that's a great comment, Rick, that there aren't any easy solutions, but basically people fight because they can and they're allowed to, and it's encouraged. And if people can't fight, then a lawyer put to me, a divorce lawyer, he said this to me. 30 years ago, people would fight tooth and nail over the couch, the car, the table, the books, the family albums, right? And now they don't. Now they fight over the kids. And there's a lot of cultural reasons for that, but part of it is because they can. And if we have default 50-50 shared parenting that's enforced, that the first or second time there is no child brought to the exchange, the authorities get involved in a positive manner to make sure that exchange happens, we would see a dramatic reduction in cases of family members being erased. Maybe not 100% cure, but a dramatic reduction, and that's what we need to work towards. Are there any other questions or comments? So to recap, erasingfamily.org, you can make a tax-deductible donation to our film fund so we can continue to share our message. And you can also share your story, a video tribute to your kids. Please do so, encourage others to do so. That's a great way to help. And also, we are so excited that we have an Oscar-winning team on board for the post-production of Erasing Family. We are super excited because it means that some great talented people who trust me, who don't need to take on a project if they don't want to, who don't need the money, they're very much in demand, are supporting our project, are supporting our vision, and thinks it's an important film. So I want to thank you all. And if you're going to make a video, make it now. Don't say I'm going to make it over the weekend. When I end this live video feed, get on there and make a video, keep it positive, and think, what would you want your kid to see if they saw the video? Maybe it's a memory that you share together. Maybe, it's just talking about how you want to know how they're doing and how you hope things will get better in the future. And you can also look at all the videos that people have sent in and see which ones that you think are great and which ones that you don't like, and copy what you like. So thank you so much. Peter Shy Z, I hope I'm saying that right, just said, if a parent cooperates to settle custody matter outside court, then there's nothing a family court can do to us. Mothers should talk to other mothers to settle child custody out of court. The family court do not side women because they are financial oriented. When more women works, then the court will go after mothers. So stop, let family court destroy families. Thank you for that comment, Pete. I think it's very important that we're talking about not creating gender divisions. So it's important to not see mothers as the problem or fathers as the problem, but see the courts as the problem. And really focusing on how moms have certain obstacles, dads have others, but in the ultimately it's about the kids. So thank you so much for sharing this live video chat. You can share it. It's on Facebook. Feel free to share on your page. That's another great way to help. Sharing this video, sharing our other videos, sharing our posts, and of course, sharing your story and sharing your video tribute to your kid on erasingfamily.org. Click on share your story. We need a lot more videos. How can we get Erasing Family t-shirts? So do you need to make a poster when making the video? No, you don't. It is great to hold up the sign that says Erased Mom, but you don't need a poster. Take a piece of paper and write Erased Mom on it if you want. Hold it up. Super simple. How can we get Erased Family t-shirts? So we had a campaign and it closed. We will be doing one in the future, probably not for a few months because it's a lot of work, and a lot of people said they wanted t-shirts, actually did not order them. So I'm not very incentivized to make them because unless you get like 1,000 t-shirts, it is a lot of work. But keep looking for them. We will get them. Helen Hudson, fantastic response. Thanks. I'll make a video and ask my friend to make a video about his daughter as well. Yes. Send it out to the world. Send that message of love out to the world. Send that message of hope. And the more that we have, the more we can show how massive this is and the diversity of people who can't see their kids. So do it now. Don't wait. Don't say, I'll do it next weekend. I'm going to click end broadcast in 5 seconds. And within a few hours, I want to see at least 5 videos uploaded. That's just 5 people. Not a lot. I'm not saying I want to see 100 videos uploaded. Just 5 people. If you could upload your video tonight, we'd be greatly appreciated. Because not only are you helping yourself, not only are you sending a message of love for your kid, you're helping everybody by showing how massive it is and how diverse the people who can't see their kids are. So thank you so much. I can't wait to see your videos. Do it right now. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't delay. Your kids can't wait for you, so you don't wait for making the video either. Thanks so much. See you next week, same time, same place. Bye.